Hey everyone, welcome back to the WatchCharts YouTube channel. My name is Charles, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys an update on the secondary watch market as we approach the end of 2022. And the main topic for today is that Rolex prices have hit an 18-month low. And we're also going to be covering a couple of other topics. So how are the other major brands doing? Are any brands still going up in value? And finally, I'd just like to give everyone a reminder that all the data that we publish, all the data that we talk about in this video is available for you to look at yourself on our website, WatchCharts.com. We try to be transparent in how we come up with our numbers and the data that we publish, and we invite all of you to dig into the data yourself and see for yourself the actual state of the watch market. So the main topic, Rolex Market Index hits 18-month low. This is something that we talked about briefly in our last dedicated video for YouTube, which was about the Rolex Milgauss now being available from certain sellers below the retail price. And, because this is a sort of more in-depth video on the topic, I'll just sort of briefly explain first how the Rolex Market Index is derived. And again, all this stuff you can see on our website. We have a domain name, rolexmarketindex.com, which will redirect you straight to our Rolex Market Index. So this index is comprised of 30 Rolex models, and it's the 30 models with the highest annual transaction value on the secondary market. Also, the weighting of each of the models is given by the transaction value as well. If you look at the current state of the Rolex Market Index, it's now at a level which was last reached around June of 2021 or a year and a half ago, 18 months ago. For the past 1 year, the index is now down 7.7% by our estimation. And the AAGR there, which is the average annual growth rate, just means that if you were to perform a regression on all the data points within that time span and project that or adjust that down to 1 year, either up or down to 1 year, roughly the rate of growth that you would get on an annualized basis. And so we're seeing that, over the past 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, the market index is continuing to go down. It looks like there is maybe a little bit of a flattening just within the last 2 weeks, but I don't want to make a overly big deal about that. Maybe it's related to the Thanksgiving holiday here in America or Black Friday or whatever, but I don't think there's enough there yet. It's really just within the last literally like 10, maybe 15 days or so. So we'll have to keep tracking the market situation as it develops. Of course, the other thing to note here is that in the last 3 years and 5 years, the market index is still up a lot, 44% and 86% respectively for those two time frames. So yes, things are not quite down to pre-COVID levels. I don't know if we're going to get there, but again, we'll keep you guys updated. So a question that you might have is, what is contributing to the drop in the overall Rolex Market Index? And so here, this is a slide that shows the performance of the different Rolex collections over the past 6 months. And the index value there is the average price in US dollars of the 30 watches that comprise each collection. And so, as you might expect, in the last 6 months, the Rolex collections that have gone down the most are, the most hyped models. It's the Daytona, which is down 17.1% in the aggregate across the 30 models. The Oyster Perpetual, which had a lot of hype, for the different pastel colored dials, GMT Masters, Submariners, Sky Dwellers. The stuff that's, more stable is dropped less is sort of like your more classically styled watches, such as your dress watches, your Datejust, Pearl Masters, Cellinis, the old vintage like Rolex dates. So yeah, this is not exactly surprising, but I think it's just interesting to show this type of breakdown. And so we also have our own WatchCharts overall market index, which is not just covering Rolex, but actually covering 10 brands. And these 10 brands are selected based on their annual transaction value. So it's the top 10 brands by annual transaction value on the secondary market that also have a median sale price on the secondary market of over 1,000 US dollars. And so the 10 brands are listed here. And you can check out, again, each of these indexes or the overall index itself. That's available, again, with a short URL of watchmarketindex.com. That'll take you to our website. And so among these 10 brands, you sort of have like 5 like pretty high-end, brands, Lange, Vacheron, AP, Rolex, Patek. And then you have 5 like, mid-tier brands, Breitling, IWC, Omega, Panerai, Tudor. And so what you're seeing over the last 6 months is that the more expensive brands in general are actually performing worse. And that's also not very surprising because those are also the brands that went up the most when the market was, insane earlier this year and towards the beginning of the end of last year. So Patek is down the most over the last 6 months, followed by Rolex, AP. And then interestingly, Lange is actually, according to our data, up about 4% over the last 6 months. And, that might be surprising to a lot of people. And we're going to be doing a separate video coming out in a couple days about what it is about the Lange market that makes it unique and why Lange is outperforming the rest of the brands, the major brands here. And so be sure to, subscribe. And that video, again, will be out in a couple days. I hope you guys will enjoy that. Another interesting thing to note is that while over the last 6 months, Rolex, Patek, and AP have performed, relatively comparably, in the past 1 year, that has actually not been the case. When you expand your view out to a year, you can see that Patek and AP are actually still both positive. Patek is up 8.6% according to the index, our brand index for Patek, and then AP is up 4%. Rolex, meanwhile, is down, as we said, 7.7%. And so I think this is mainly attributed to, first of all, the more genuine scarcity of Patek and AP watches. It's estimated, according to Morgan Stanley, that both of these brands produce less than 100,000 watches a year versus Rolex producing over 1 million. And then also just the fact that Patek and AP both experienced, discontinuations of major models in their product lineup. Patek the 5711, obviously, and some other ones. AP discontinued like almost everything actually, and just left like the 15500 ST Royal Oak out, and then like basically revamped everything else for like the 50th anniversary. So there was some more hype created, by those discontinuations, plus the fact that obviously, Patek and AP are more genuinely rare. And so as a result, if you look at the 1 year view, they've actually outperformed Rolex by, quite a significant margin. And so then there's a question, what brands are still up, if any, in the last 6 months, right? Are any brands still doing well while everything is going down, right? And the answer is yes. There's actually a few, but, it's just sort of like a blip in the market, really. These brands do not make up a significant portion of the market, but, it's interesting to talk about nonetheless. And so if you look at the brands which have a average price of around $10,000 on the secondary market or more, you get 3 that are actually still up in the last 6 months. Lange, which we talked about already, right, up 4.2%. And then also Girard-Perregaux and Bulgari. Girard-Perregaux is actually up, quite a lot. It's up 8%, and then Bulgari is up 4%. And what's interesting about all of these 3 brands is that, in part, the reason why they're going up is attributed to the fact that all of them produce a integrated bracelet sports watch. So for GP, it's the Laureato. For Bulgari, it's the Octo. And on the secondary market, these collections are like overwhelmingly what is being traded for these brands. So almost the entirety of the GP secondary market is the Laureato. Almost the entirety of the Bulgari secondary market is the Octo. If you look at the indexes for these brands on our website, it's just almost all entirely those collections. Lange obviously, has the Odysseus, but that is a small portion of Lange's catalog, and so it's not exactly the reason why the overall indexes for Lange is going up that much. Again, we'll get more into that in a separate video. But Nevertheless, the Odysseus is the best performing Longa model in this time, but just overall everything for Longa is still going up slightly. And so that does it for our market update towards the end of 2022. Again, we invite you to dive into all of the data that we've published here at watchcharts.com. And we also update all of our numbers every single day so that you guys can get, the latest on what's going on in the watch market. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked the video, give it a comment, and I'll catch you guys next time.